2020. It's Black History Month. Black that black, black, black. Welcome to the Affordable Housing Series. I am Jamela, the social services maven, your homegirl that gives you the lowdown on entry case level management roles and responsibility and the significance and the importance of well developed, well trained entry level case managers. A lot of people are moving into tech and isolating, not having no type of a human connection. And your job is going to be in demand in a good 10 years because there's going to be some psychosis. But whatever. We're talking about affordable housing. Have you heard about that? What's affordable housing? It's Section 8 housing. It could be called HUD VASH. It could be called tax credit. It could be subsidized, unsubsidized. It could be group homes. It's all low income housing for vulnerable populations in our society. And how does that show up for some people? Some people could show up for them in their life. It's just because they could be a woman with children or a family, which you really don't see because there is systematic oppression because of that. Reaganomics. But we are going to talk about the pipeline from street to housed. And I worked in Los Angeles in 2013 to 2015 in affordable housing, but it was under the umbrella of chronic homelessness in severe and persistent mental health populations. And I worked in a drop-in center. So a drop-in center or a multi-service center, you really see in urban communities for people, or not for people, but for where high populations and high concentrations of the transient community appear in a area. And so, how the pipeline was created by the individuals who own the organization, and also because of funding streams, it will begin like this. Someone will come off into the drop-in center stating a need of, I need to take a shower. I need to wash my clothes. I need to get an ID. I want to get case management. I need to get my meds. Whatever it looked like for them, they came in. They may just need to print out for shelters. I don't know. They might just need to use my phone that day. It didn't matter. They came in seeking assistance, and we were there to be available. As an entry-level case manager, I triaged. I was the first person that people came into contact with who were experiencing a mental health crisis as well as homelessness at the same time. And I mean, it was a broad range from individuals who might have been in foster care all of their life, to those who might have just gotten out of prison, to those who have been homeless for maybe 10 plus years, to someone who just had a psychiatric episode and got evicted and thrown out of their home, who was a professor. I even had a PhD in neuroscience come one time, but she had a psychiatric episode and she lost her home and her job, and just like she fell flat. That happens. It happens, and it can look like that sometimes. So that's part one of the pipeline. They came in to a area or to a space to get a need met. So how I, as an entry-level case manager who could not diagnose, who could only go about what someone told me they were experiencing or had experienced in the past, I triaged. So when you triage, you're engaging. You're engaging someone to assess in front of you at that moment what needs need to be met. So I triaged for about 2 to 3 months. You're gonna ride with me. I want to see what you want. Like, is it just that you want to get some tokens for the bus, or is it that you just want to get a hotel voucher to sleep because you never ran out of money and you want to turn a couple of tricks? You know, what is it? I need to know. I didn't know. And I'm only know that by asking you the same questions over and over and having you go do things and follow through. Because I want to see what your follow through. What's your regulation like? You know, you gonna ride? We gonna ride? I always say that if you're gonna ride with me, I'll ride with you. So anyway, I would triage and they would come in, and how I would know if someone was pretty serious. What you will usually see in mental health and individuals who are experiencing homelessness is a loss of meds and them wanting to get their meds, a loss of their ID and them wanting to get their ID, and the loss of their SDI and them wanting to get their SDI reinstated or get it started. But most of the time it's reinstated in chronic homeless with severe and persistent mental health. So I would do one thing at a time. First week, go get your medication. That's the most important thing. You need to be able to think clearly. Secondly, go get your ID. Third, do you need disability? But if you didn't need disability, you want to get housed, let me give you a locker to keep your things here so I can begin to, so that I know you're going to come back here today. I know that you're going to be here at 7:30 in the morning to get your medications. Therefore, I get to see you. I get to lay my eyes on you. I get to ask you a couple of questions. I get to look at the current state of your body to see if you're high, to see if you're eating well, to see if we need to maybe 5150 you along with the nurse practitioner. It was all of a long-term triage for me to match what this person has told me their history about of what I'm seeing. And so then they will be into the what I call the phase 2 of Jamela, to where I want to see you every day. And I want to see you every day because we're going to begin the paperwork to get you housed. And what we would have were, I'm not going to say clinical, but it was clinical because part of the clinical team was there. Your clinical team can consist of a psychiatric nurse practitioner. It's always going to be an LCSW. It's going to be your program director, and other individuals in the program are on the pipeline of the program. And we would sit there and we would speak about our cases. And by speaking about them and dialoguing what we are experiencing or the engagement that's going along, we're building a story that is getting a different viewpoint from the clinical team. They're looking at it through a medical lens now. They're looking at it through a housing lens. And they're also looking at it through can they manage the responsibility of going in and out of an apartment and taking care of their apartment, and then not letting people from the outside who might be negative into their home. Are they responsible enough? So that's part of the long-term engagement. Excuse me, I'm getting over a really bad sinus infection. So that's part of the long-term engagement of bringing in your clinical team, and I will bring in the clinical team by the second month. So then I would sit them down and I say, are you interested in being housed? And it's going to always be, yeah. It's going to always be like, yeah, I want to be housed. Are you sure? What do you mean, am I sure? You think I like being homeless? I said, there are some people who like being homeless. I'm asking you. I don't want to put my viewpoint on you. No, I'm tired. I'm tired of getting my stuff stolen. I'm tired of getting beat up. Yada, 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 yada. Okay, so this is what I want you to do. I want you to fill out this packet for me, and I want you to come back tomorrow. Or if you can't take it with you, and I know you're not going to bring it back, it's going to be lost, let's stay here. Okay. Got that done. Oh, you filled out the packet. Thank you very much. Now we're going to sit here on the phone together for the next hour and call Medi-Cal. Y'all know how that can be. And we're going to get you a behavioral health insurance implemented, and we're going to get you a doctor. That psychiatric or waiting for a psychiatrist can take forever, but that's a way to hold somebody, because we did have a psychiatric nurse practitioner on our team, but that's when you got into phase 2 of being housed. But for me, having someone to talk to, or at least being on someone's wait list to talk to them, is very important because it helps you sustain the waiting time. Because it's just like anything in life, waiting is the hardest part, and it can really make or break you. So I would be sure that I could get them someone to talk to. Okay, they did that, we did this. So where are you at now? Do you have your SDI? No. Let's get your SDI reinstated. Oh, I don't have SDI. Okay, let's begin to be sure that we are getting a long history of all of your experiences so that I can give this to the social worker who's going to be on your team in the housing part of your ride, who has a historical reference of you, can also begin to build your case for SDI. So then we'll go through that. Then we'll sit together along with myself and the clinical social worker, and I'll say, hey, this is John Doe. I believe that they'll be a great candidate for this program, and these are the reasons why. So I'll give my engagement history. I'll say the different personalities or the different traits that have been shown to me. And I think that, some of these are influenced by just being homeless and not being well rested. And then I think these need to be part of their intensive case management plan. And then, depending upon the repertoire and if there's an opening and the social worker believes what I have said, they have now enrolled into a housing program. They qualify for whatever that program looks like. Our program was where you got 1 year of your housing paid for you to get effectively medicated, to have psychiatric visits with the doctor, and also for you to go to school, go to work, to build those soft skills that have been lost through being homeless for so long. And once they're in the program, you're going to another waiting period, right? And that waiting period is the funds have to be available. You yourself have to go out and go look for your housing. We're not doing that. We can give you a list, but you have to hit the pavement and go look for it and return that. Once you get housed, now it's time for you to go to school or to go into a job or on site or somewhere else. And then you have that 1 year of intake case management. That, my friend, is a plug. That's the key. You can't go from being unhoused and homeless to being housed. Your brain is not there. It's not, and that just comes along with going through the process. So if we look at that from the beginning of them coming in to them now being housed, that's like 4 months of waiting. And you're kind of like probably in the mindset of, well, they were already homeless. Why can't they wait 4 months? That's huge. For somebody to give you a voucher and say, now go look for a house and you can't find that and you have a very small window of time, it can destroy some people. And I've seen some people lose their marbles because they couldn't find their housing because they could not find affordable housing. Now you see what I'm talking about. Affordable housing is a very funny thing, and it looks different for so many people coming through so many different avenues to get housed. And it goes into housing rates being so high. So yes, you might have a voucher, but you can't find a house because you can't afford the rent. And you don't have any income, or you have a very, very limited income to pay for the difference. And if you do pay for the difference, that means you might not have any money to eat or anything else. So affordable housing it's bigger than building units. They have to be at a rate that's affordable. And I know I'm just like saying it's like affordable housing, but it has to be built in a neighborhood, in an area with these things to go along, like water, lighting, heating, all of these things that a voucher can pay for, and SDI income can maybe come in and on the back end and help. And that unfortunately exists at a very limited number in the Bay Area, Los Angeles, and in California. And in New York. So that's one. But as you can see, as an entry-level case manager, you are making a lot of decisions for a person, right? Like, you don't know, you can't diagnose from what you see. You can only go by what they're telling you and what your inner you is telling you. But things like this, or situations like this, are very common. And a lot of people, depending upon how they present themselves to an individual, can get turned away because they might not feel comfortable with that specific case manager and they don't think that they have the option to choose. So as we begin to go through our series of affordable housing and the different spectrums of it, just see as an entry case level manager, you are the first person that they meet. So it's best to become knowledgeable of your role, knowledgeable of the resources in your area, knowledgeable of your team, and the knowledge that your team members have to pull from and ask for assistance. So, as always, you're needed. Entry-level case management managers are such a necessity to organizations, and being trained to be a knowledgeable can change the lives of many, many individuals that need help. So I'll see you all next week.